an entrepreneur essentially. Everyone's starting their own business. Everyone has the same structure and schedule. So coming into this, always, like I said, had like an entrepreneur mindset and I was very into fitness and reading like I was very into all those things, but I had no structure. I had no self-discipline. It was just something that I was passionate about, but I didn't really pay attention to.
Yeah.
Once I came into the life insurance space, I was surrounded by people who are either in the industry of like doing those things themselves, like creating their own podcasts, doing a lot of fitness stuff, or and just like having their life insurance business as well. So you're surrounded by people who already have these habits and they're going to help you build that discipline and help you become that person as well.
Welcome into the Unsold Agent Podcast. Excited to have you guys here. And today we have an amazing guest, Ashley Holland. I'm so excited to have you on and be able to learn more about your journey and your success inside of insurance. Ashley, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, Ashley, tell us a little bit more about who you are and how you got started with your entrepreneurship journey.
So I got started with entrepreneurship. I feel like I always knew it was
Yeah.
something I wanted to do, have my own business. I never really considered having like a 9 to 5 job or like a sit down desk job or anything. So here and there growing up, I've always had little businesses and doing little things. Nothing I was ever like fully successful in or anything. So I ended up in life insurance and it's been great so far.
That's awesome. And at what age would you say that you kind of had that entrepreneurship bug?
Probably like 8th grade. I remember always wanting to do stuff, having my dad help me with like little business ideas and things like that in middle school and then high school, things like that.
That's great. And was your dad an entrepreneur as well? Did he own his own business or how did he
Yeah,
influence?
he actually was. So he had his own business whenever he was like in his early 20s. Him and my uncle did a little thing and then he actually transitioned later in life into sales as well.
Did you have like a college background? Did you go into any secondary school before you got into entrepreneurship?
I did. So I went to ASU for 4 years, but I did
Okay.
not get my degree.
Yep.
So I never actually finished it, but I did go to ASU for business and marketing for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's something that we have in common. I went to college for 4 years and dropped out 4 units short.
Yeah, I think I have like 3 classes left and I was like, "Ah, I'm okay. I'm not gonna finish it."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like that's all too common nowadays. Like going to college, it's good to socialize and build a network, but I see so many people that just don't use a college education anymore, and that's why entrepreneurship's becoming such a big industry is because people are just being able to figure out how to get it done themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so out of college, did you jump right into entrepreneurship, or what did that look like? Like, did you have a couple jobs leading into it? What was that for you?
Yeah, so I had like a college job at a fitness studio and everything. That was amazing, but I always had like a little side hustle. So during COVID, I started making charcuterie boards, but they were like in little boxes so people could order them and I would deliver it to them for parties or whatever. And then I transitioned that into making gift boxes. That was a fun little business. It lasted for maybe like 2 years or so. And then after that, once I finished college, I did a lot of social media, like freelance marketing and things like that, and
Yeah.
then eventually landed in life insurance.
Okay. That's awesome. So yeah, kind of had like that entrepreneurship. You kind of had a little get of starting your own business and obviously found some success if you were doing it for a couple years, which is great. What led you into life insurance? Like what was kind of that pull into the industry?
So it's funny because like I did have those other little side hustles and everything and
Yeah.
they were successful at the time like for me being young and in college and whatever, but nothing ever like crazy that I could like live off of or anything. So I
Yeah.
ended up going back, well not going back, but I ended up working in like the nightlife service industry for a little bit while I was still doing my side hustles.
Yeah.
And so I think I did that for probably like 2 years. And it's just so exhausting if you've ever worked in the service industry or nightlife. It's just so tiring. Like it literally wears out your mind, body, your soul, everything. So I was like, I cannot do this any longer. I need to find something else. I didn't have a degree. So I kind of ruled out getting like a 9 to 5
Corporate
career
job.
job, whatever. So I know I had to do something, whether it be like my social media job or whatever I wanted to land on. And insurance kind of just came about. I had seen someone post about it and I was like, this is cool. Like it has a little bit more structure than me just creating my own business in social media or freelancing or whatever the case is. But it's not as structured as a full 9 to 5 job where I'm essentially working for somebody else all day,
Yeah.
every day, and I could still create my own thing. So that's how I was like, okay, I'll give this a try. And I landed on that.
Did you have a friend that was already doing it, or was it kind of like how did you kind of stumble into insurance? Like, what was that thing that you saw that drew you in?
I did not have a friend or family member or anything like that doing it. I had just seen like a lot of mutual friends in the area or like people that
Yeah.
I knew or knew of that were in the industry and had been in it in a couple of years. That's kind of how I started. I just had reached out to one of those friends and because they said they were hiring. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this. And it took me a couple months to actually start. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
had seen it online.
Yeah, let's talk about like period of, getting started because I went through it as well. Kind of like you're like, yeah, I want to do it, and then it's like like it kind of takes a little bit of time. So,
Yeah.
like when you first came in, was there any like skepticism, anything that you had heard that maybe slowed down that process that you were kind of like tiptoeing in, seeing what was there?
For me, luckily, no, I had not seen it online. I had not seen it on TikTok of like
Yeah.
life versus this or that or the stereotypes. For me, it was more so passing my exam and really like getting motivated to start because I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? I sucked at school. Like I never passed the exam in college. How am I ever gonna pass this? So
Yeah.
that's what took me a couple months. But once I passed the exam, it was like a flip switch. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like I can't wait to start. So that's kinda how what took me the longest part was just the exam period.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, did you pass your first time, or how many times did it take you to like be able to pass the exam?
So, I took it I say 3.5
Okay.
because so in Arizona, I was taking it in Arizona, you only have 4 chances to pass the exam. First time, didn't pass it, I was like, "Oh, that sucks, like, let me give it another month." I believe I took it or maybe it was 3.5. I took it again, and I remember in the middle of it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I know I'm gonna fail, like, this sucks, like, I know I'm failing, so I just X'd out of it and I just gave up. And then I maybe I only took it 3 times. I took it a 3rd time and I finally passed it. The last time I was like, "Okay, if I don't pass it this time, like, I literally have to go to another state to take the exam, so I don't have the option." And I, like, hunkered down and I studied for 2 weeks. That's all I did, and I finally passed the exam.
Yeah, that's incredible. Do you have any words of advice or encouragement for someone that maybe is struggling to take the exam or nervous to kind of go through that process?
Yeah, I would say study as much as you can. I mean, if you haven't taken an exam in a long time, or if you're like me and you're not good at taking tests and things like that, don't be hard on yourself if you don't pass it the first time. Because for me, I used that first time as like, okay, I haven't taken an exam in like 2 years
Yeah.
and I wasn't good at it to begin with. So now I kind of know what to expect, what's on it. I know what to study. A lot of people don't pass it the first time. I mean, it's always good to try to do
Yeah.
that, but don't let it discourage you or like steer you away from the job if you don't, because it's once you pass it, you're like, oh my God, that was so easy. And the studying, if you really just focus on it, it's not as hard or as intimidating as it seems, or at least as it was to me.
That's so true. It is a lot. Like it's to go from, you graduate college or you just you're out of college or out of high school and then you don't go through that process in a while and you're like, shoot, I haven't exercised this testing muscle in a really long time. That's
Yeah.
a new process to
Especially
go
for,
through.
like, an industry, like, for me, with life insurance, I didn't even know the difference between term life, whole like, I knew nothing about insurance, so I was like, "How am I gonna pass the test?" Like, real estate, I was like, at least I know a little bit about houses or mortgages or whatever, but I was so
Yeah.
intimidated because I knew nothing about insurance.
Yeah, I mean that a lot of people are the same way. Like it's I was lucky that I knew a little bit about insurance because I had a my best friend was a financial advisor and kind of talked me through a bunch of it early on.
Okay.
But so many people, even my wife, like she didn't know anything about insurance when she got started, and it was a learning curve. And so I always just love to see like, hey, the biggest thing is once you pass the test, it's like it's smooth sailing from there because you did the hard part. Now it's time to get going.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ashley, so you passed your test, and then Did you get started at Unitrust, or was there another company that you got started with originally?
No, I started with a different IMO, so I was there for about a year, and then I
Okay.
transitioned to Unitrust.
Okay. What was your experience like at that IMO?
It was very different. So it was similar in the sense that it was not a captive agency. It was a brokerage as well. So
Yeah.
that was a good part about it. But it was just very different. The leads were very different. The systems were very different. The structure and support was very different. It was more kind of like a free for all.
Okay.
If I mean, it was very unorganized. It was a really I am very grateful and I'm so glad I started there because now I have like a whole different perspective on the industry and it gave me like a really good work ethic. It surrounded me with a lot of good people at the time, but I feel very lucky to be at Unitrust now.
Yeah, absolutely. What, if you don't mind me asking, what were some of like your most consistent months at that IMO compared to like coming into Unitrust and what you've been able to find with success wise here?
I feel like at my first IMO, I would average probably 8 to 12 or 8 yeah, 8 to 12 grand in premiums submitted per month.
Okay.
But it fluctuated a lot. So I remember like my first month, I believe I did like 8 grand and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool. This is amazing." And then 2 months later, I only did 4. And I was like, "Wait, what the heck?" So it was very it was not sustainable in the sense of like I wasn't having the same income. And
Yeah.
I would say that I was writing a certain amount, but what I was actually profiting was very, very different from that. Whereas at Unitrust, at the first IMO, I did have to deal with a lot of chargebacks a lot more frequently. So it made it very difficult to be sustainable. But at Unitrust, after coming here, a lot more consistent. My numbers have pretty much stayed the same and have doubled from what I was doing at the last IMO. Chargebacks here, I have not dealt with. I mean, I have like 2 or 3, but that's over a
Yeah.
span of almost a year. So
Wow.
it's been a lot more consistent. It's a lot more stickier business. The numbers of what you're actually profiting from what I have seen in my experience have been a lot more accurate as well.
Why do you think that is? Like, obviously, the processes might be pretty similar. You're selling life insurance, but what's kind of like the biggest difference that's allowing you to find that success here at Unitrust?
I think lead quality has a lot to do with it because you can be getting leads from an IMO or from a lead vendor and you don't know what the advertisement is saying. You don't know what they're promising the people who are like signing up for this and everything. Because I
Yeah.
remember getting so many people who were like, "What? This ad said $1 million for $20 a month," and just like crazy things like that. So it's kind of, I would always tell people you're kind of gambling on your money. It feels like you're gambling on your money when you're using lead vendors and random lead sources and things like that are just on the internet. Whereas at
Yeah.
Unitrust, it's all mailer leads, call in leads, and it's a lot more accurate. They know they're not promised something that is not, like, accurate or that they're not gonna get. They might have hopes, but, at the end of the day, the lead quality is a lot better and as well as the structure for what you're offering your client, because once they sign up for a policy, they get access to a portal and everything like that where they can see your information, your manager's information, all their policy information, and the product that you're giving them just makes a lot of sense because you're structuring it to their mortgage payment or their mortgage loan. Whereas if you're just selling final expense or like veterans life insurance or whatever the case is, people are just like, "Oh, I want X amount of money." And then they're like, why did I want that amount? Or like, it just doesn't make sense because it's kind of random amounts. So there's a
Yeah.
lot that goes into it, but I think it just makes a lot more sense. There's a lot more structure to build off of with the Unitrust leads and systems.
Absolutely. Then would you mind explaining what mortgage protection insurance is for someone that might be listening that maybe isn't familiar with insurance or isn't familiar with what we do?
Yeah, so the mortgage protection is essentially life insurance structured for someone's mortgage, whether that's their entire mortgage loan, which can be 100, 200, up to like $700,000, or we call it critical period, where you're covering the loan payment or their mortgage loan each month for a set period of time if and when something were to happen. so that their survivor or themselves don't have to worry about that payment for that time frame. And the mortgage, which is essentially their biggest asset, doesn't end up becoming their biggest liability.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great explanation. Thank you, Ashley. When looking at insurance and, going from the service industry into getting into remote sales, what do you think has been some of the biggest like life changes or like lifestyle changes that you've had in the last couple years?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Well, with insurance, like everyone here is an entrepreneur essentially. Everyone's starting their own business. Everyone has the same structure and schedule. So coming into this, always, like I said, had like an entrepreneur mindset and I was very into fitness and reading like I was very into all those things, but I had no structure. I had no self-discipline. It was just something that I was passionate about, but I didn't really pay attention to.
Yeah.
Once I came into the life insurance space, I was surrounded by people who are either in the industry of like doing those things themselves, like creating their own podcasts, doing a lot of fitness stuff, or and just like having their life insurance business as well. So you're surrounded by people who already have these habits and they're going to help you build that discipline and help you become that person as well. So pretty much like my day from start to finish has changed. My week from Sunday to Saturday has changed. My priorities are did a complete 180. Like everything, like I can tell anybody that comes into the industry, it will change your life so much if you let it and if you play into the systems and if you really like buy into it and put yourself out there. Not even just financially, like my biggest fulfillment from coming into the industry is just how much it has changed my life in every other area aside from financial as well.
Wow. When you think about like changing like every aspect of life, how do you think it has changed your like mindset towards like just mindset in general? Like doesn't have to be towards anything, but just like how you were thinking before to how now you're thinking being around entrepreneurs, having this community here at Unitrust.
I think my mindset has changed in the sense that, like, I used to listen to podcasts and people that would say, oh, business is hard. Like, you're going to fail a bunch of times and then you're going to see success and this and that. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, it's hard. Let's go. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how hard it actually is and how strong of a mindset you actually have to have, which has been such a fulfilling thing to see not only myself, but some agents that work with me and friends in the industry and everything, to be able to grow that mindset over time. That's probably one of the biggest things that has changed for me is like, this really is hard and you have to see the vision. Like, you can't just say, okay, I want to make or write 30,000 this month and then I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be like having this big business. Like you have to look far in advance because your business might be like here one month and then here another. And you have to like just see the long-term vision and have that mindset and the determination and the discipline too. And that's probably the biggest thing that I feel like I've seen change in my life and mindset and everything.
What do you do to stay disciplined to be able to help that consistency in the business flow when it is down? Like how do you like kind of help it come back up? And also when it's high, like how do you make sure you don't get too high and kind of keep that consistency?
I would say in the beginning, whenever you first start out in insurance, you're going to feel that a lot. I mean, some people can come in here and they write a bunch of business off the bat and their business you just see go like that. But a lot of people are not like that. So in the beginning, I would say like my first year, I felt like I was just kind of breaking even every month. Like, and I had the mindset and the vision. I was like, I see all these people doing this. I want to do it. I want to be there one day. So for me, it was just like keeping that in mind all the time of like, this is where I want to be and I know I can get there, but it doesn't come right away for everybody. And then finding your home too in insurance, like what IMO you want to be at, what systems and leads work best for you. But for me, I would say I just try to stay consistent on my routines. Like I know what works for me. I go to the gym every morning. I have to listen to like a podcast and read a book and usually write in my journal. Like I have a whole morning routine. And if I don't do it, I know my day will be terrible. I've done it for so many years that now I know like if I do this and I stay consistent, like I don't have to be the best at it every day. I don't have to go in the gym and do like the hardest workout of my life. Like as long as I'm consistent, as long as I'm keeping the promises that I make to myself, that's a big thing is keep the promises that you make to yourself. I don't care if you're not as good this day and you're amazing that day, but over time it adds up and it will pay off. And doing it on the days that you don't want to do it is honestly when you see the most fulfillment from it too.
That's so well said. Yeah, the days the negative days or the 0 days are the days that you find the greatest success. And actually, one thing that you had talked about is like you listen to podcasts, you read books, and so often in the kind of the entrepreneur space and the like mindset developmental space, I feel like it's greatly directed towards men. What have you found that's been able to help like you and resonate with your journey that maybe you'd want to share with some of our female listeners that could potentially help them?
Started insurance, I was surrounded by like a ton of guys, and I still am. Like the industry is mainly men. So I thought I had to like wake up at 4 a.m., cold plunge, do this, do that, which all those things are amazing. They still make me feel really good. I try to do them all regularly.
Like, what type of podcasts or books do you listen to help, you know, take information from or learn from that have been able to create alignment with you?
My favorite podcast is The Skinny Confidential. Her name is Lauren. Her husband is Michael. They do it together. It's so good because they have a lot of female entrepreneurs on there, which is amazing to hear from. And you can hear about their routines and what they've done and things like that. I also really like Ed Milet. He mentions girls and boys a lot in his
Yeah.
podcast. Those two are probably my top listened to podcasts. As far as books, I really like the 5 a.m. Club. That one was really cool to read. I am reading one right now called Mastery. I really like that one. I could go on and on about books. I have so
Yeah.
many. But The Skinny Confidential, definitely a really great podcast. Lauren and Michael both recommend amazing books. I have read Ed Milet's book. I could go on and on about podcasts.
I actually I think going into that a little bit more is great because so many people and we talked about it early on of like when you were taking the test and we don't exercise that muscle in taking the test, but most people also don't read books, you know, after school and that time period. How have you seen that like reading books have been able to help you in your just not your journey, but your life as a whole?
There's so many ways that I feel like reading can help you because I try to switch back and forth. So I just finished reading a book by Grant Cardone. It was called something about obsession. I can't remember the
Be
exact.
obsessed or be average?
Yes, Be Obsessed or Be Average. I just finished reading that, and I felt like that was more of like a personal development book. So
Okay.
then after that, I switched to a sales book, and it was actually it was called Straight Lines. Oh, it was Straight Line Selling by Wolf of Wall Street or the Straight Line Theory or
Yeah,
something.
Straight Line Theory, Way of the Wolf, Straight Line Theory by Jordan Belford.
Yes. So then I read that one. Then I try to switch back and forth between like a sales book and a personal development book, just to make sure that I am developing like sales skills with that to go along with work and everything. But I also want to do personal development because I tell every agent that I bring on or anyone that's even interested in the industry that like this is not just a life insurance industry, it's a personal development industry. And if you're not constantly learning, growing, bettering yourself, then you can succeed, but to me, it'll be much harder because, I mean, you're creating your own business. It's entrepreneurship. No one's here. You have your upline, you have everyone to support you. But at the end of the day, like you have to do a lot of it yourself too, which is to me is a really cool thing.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, you are speaking my language. Like those 2 books are like the two cornerstones of my sales philosophy right there.
Yes,
Um,
love it.
so
And
good.
then what's the red book by Grant Cardone? Sell or Be Sold. I love that one too.
Sell or Be Sold is a really good one. Another one that you might want to take a look into, it's called Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. That is one of the best sales book I've ever read, and that has actually been the most developmental book in my sales journey. Oren Klaff, he does big corporate sales. So like he sold like airports, he sold a bunch of different big deals, and he's done like 1.5 trillion dollars in sales in the last like 30 years
Oh my
just
god.
from like massive deals and stuff and
It's
pairing
called
all of those books
Anything.
together. Yeah, Pitch Anything.
Okay, I'm gonna have to Amazon Prime that right after this.
Yeah, it's such a good one. With your upline or your manager that brought you in, is male or female?
Mail.
Male. What does that relationship look like in general, like with going through the process? Like how do you guys mesh? Like what's that look like for you?
We mesh really, really well. I feel very lucky to have my upline and to have found him. I feel like he would do anything for his agent. So it's really awesome. He's always there for us. I did have a female upline at my last IMO. And to me, I don't think it really makes a difference on like male or female. I just think it's whoever's going to support you the most and who you feel like you can build a business with.
Mm.
who you can be a business partner with. My last upline was great. I don't have anything bad to say about that situation, but I just think finding someone who you can really build a business with, who you guys kind of have similar mindsets and similar ways of work, and someone who you can share your vision with is really important.
That's so good. How do you see that your upline has been able to, like, help you develop? Like, what's that process look like?
My upline has really been able to help me develop when it comes to building out my business and like giving me the blueprint and the exact steps to do that. Recruiting has been such a big thing that he has helped me with this time. Um, and building like just a strong foundation of a team
Yeah.
and showing me the way to do that. He's also helped me a lot with sales because he has done sales previously before this as well. So I feel like when I first came in, I really looked up to him in that sense as well. So he's really helped me from start to finish in a lot of ways in building out my business and my team.
That's incredible. And where would you say your business is at currently on like a consistent month to month basis? Obviously, we're in the holidays right now, so it looks a little bit different, but
Numbers wise, I would say so it has been kind of inconsistent because we started out with a couple of agents and whenever I first started recruiting, building my team, I was brand new to Unitrust and I don't think that I necessarily took all the right steps with that. Oh
you're
gosh.
not alone with that one. I
Yeah.
did the same thing. So
Yeah. So numbers wise though, I would say gosh, I honestly
how many agents do you currently have on your team?
I have 4 girls underneath me right now, active agents,
Awesome.
and then we are bringing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more within the next couple weeks. Some are in contracting right now.
There we go. That's super exciting. What does the onboarding process look like? Let's say, they go through, they get their test, and someone's coming onto your team, Ashley. What does that process look like to get started?
So, pass their tests, we get them contracted with the company, introduce them to all the girls. I know Unitrust does a lot of trainings and everything for new agents. So there's a new agent boot camp. We have tons of videos for new agents to watch. I personally like to do 1 or 2 one-on-one trainings with them just to make sure they're comfortable, take them through an application. Just because sometimes when you're on big trainings and stuff, I know I at least am scared to ask questions. I
Yeah,
wanna do that with them. I make sure that they set their goals. I'm very, very big on goal setting. So I want everyone to set their goals for the next 90 days because I think your first 90 days in insurance is the most crucial and most important. So
absolutely.
try to focus on that and then really get them started as quickly as possible and on the phones as quickly as we can.
That's awesome. When you look at the day to day of, someone coming on, they're getting started and they're curious on like, hey, like how many hours do I have to work or what does my schedule look like? When someone comes onto your team, what does a day to day schedule typically look like?
So we actually have people all over. I am back and forth between Arizona and North Carolina right now. So my schedule's a little bit different. We
Yeah,
have one girl that's on Pacific time, some that are on East Coast. So I tell everyone, whatever time zone you're dialing, make sure you're on at 8 a.m. that time zone. Dial for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, or until you get 12 appointments. Make sure you're on the daily training and then come back, run your appointments in the afternoon. I always tell everyone they have that break in the middle of the day, but I try to encourage them to try to one call close or work on recruiting or different aspects of your business to develop that during that middle time frame of setting appointments in the morning and running them in the afternoon and evening.
absolutely. And so, do you think that someone needs to have prior sales experience or take a course? Like, if someone's sitting here listening to this and going, I don't have sales experience or I have never done sales before. Do they need to go do something before they come into insurance?
No, I did. I had no sales experience. I was terrified of sales when I first started. Like, my first day dialing for life insurance, I would, like, pray that people wouldn't answer the phone or, like, if they answered, I remember, like, hanging up on one lady. I was like, "I can't do this. I'm so scared." But you learn it over time, and you learn it by listening. You learn it by unmuting on your calls for other people to hear you. I mean, even if you were to go get a 9 to 5 job in sales or take a sales course, you're and that like, that's your first experience, you're still learning from scratch, and I think the best way to learn is just to put yourself out there and to like launch yourself out there and then adjust everything that you have to do along the way.
That's so well said, Ashley. Like you don't need anything. It's kind of the funny thing. I got into insurance and I was like, wow, like I have multiple years of sales experience and and coaching and everything, and I'm like, "You don't need any of it." It's kinda like you
Yeah.
just come in, follow the process, and it works out for you.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, and Ashley, so if someone's sitting here listening to this still and going like, "Hey, this is something that I wanna do, and how do I get in touch with Ashley?" Like, what's the best way for someone to get reach out to you and be able to ask some more questions or get more information from you?
That's on my Instagram page. I also have it on my TikTok. That's where I do most of my recruiting is social media.
Okay, perfect. And I'll link her social media down below in the description. That way, it's going to be easy for you guys to go find Ashley. And Ashley, do you have any final words of encouragement or anything like insight about the industry that someone that you feel like someone that is new should know before we hop off here?
Yeah, I would say just stick with it. Remind yourself of your vision and your long-term goals because if you haven't done entrepreneurship before, I mean, a lot of people come in here looking for instant gratification and or they think it's like a get rich quick thing, but develop your discipline, your work ethic, and continue to remind yourself of your vision like every single day because even if it takes a long time for you to see success, it will come as long as you do the hard work and you're consistent and you do all the things that Unitrust or whatever your IMOs that are telling you to do. Because a lot of people have come in this industry and made millions and millions of dollars, and they're all going to tell you exactly how to do it. So follow the blueprint, see the vision, and don't give up would be my biggest words of wisdom, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Yeah, first thing, get started. Second thing, don't quit. And, and if you can do those
No
two
matter
steps,
how
then you're
bad
good.
it gets, don't quit because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today and such a great story and such great insight on insurance. And I hope if you guys are still listening that you guys do reach out to Ashley and just learn more. The best thing to do is just take that first step and be able to understand exactly what we do and how it works. And if you guys are looking for more information, just wanting to educate more, you guys can feel free to click this next video over here. And that way you can get some more information here. And Ashley, once again, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you. It was so great talking to you.
It was so good talking with you as well.